Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with daily technical update. It is Wednesday, it's the 5th of November. This video is for educational purpose only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. Alright, let's move on. Very heavy day on EUROSTOXX stock market yesterday. Nasdaq 2% lower. We did talk about it was very stretched and we could see a correction with these top and reversal like pattern here with these negative candles despite market moving a little bit higher. Sellers were in control and they could continue to be in control the next few days. 25,136, there's some support here. Short term, we can also draw a trend line maybe that can give a little bit of a support. It's not the strongest one anyway, but nevertheless, I think we will see it pushing lower here the next couple of days. We RSI in decline, also indicating uptrend exhaustion. Looking at the weekly, we have there's a bearish candle there forming this week, so that also a bit of a top and reversal for on the medium term. Maybe we will be in for a little bit of a troubled market here for the next few weeks, possibly even longer. So let's see about this. Pre-market, really not much to talk about. It seems like we are pushing a little bit lower here, but not much. But we are testing, and let's just draw a trend line there, a horizontal line. See where we are trading around there, around 25,160. There's some support. Could bounce a little bit. Maybe bargain hunters will come in. S&P 500, as we can see, 6,755. We have some support there. It will not, a closer below will not change the bullish trend, but we are still in for a correction that could take us a little bit lower. The overall bullish trend will be totally cancelled if we move below 6,550 on the S&P 500. So, but still, there is a risk of correction quite a bit lower here the next few days. Dow Jones, same picture here really. We have 46,758, some support around that level, but still in a correction phase. The pre-market also for US 500, as we can see, well, we have 6,700 just above it. It bounced a little bit here pre-market, but again, as we can see, the RSI values have been declining, so market has been stretched. So let's see here the next few days. However, if market turns around and takes out the peak here, well, then we are going to continue the bullish trend. The Asian market actually a little bit positive as such if we're looking at a chart, but actually basically unchanged compared to yesterday. But the sellers tried to take control from the morning, but buyers came in and lifted a little bit. So we are still caught in this range here between 26,560. Needs to close above that to establish that a bullish trend. We are actually slightly negative on it. Nikkei, that formed a top reversal pattern here over the late last week and into this week, and we talked about yesterday, and it's sold off, but bounced, got down to around 50% of this uptrend there, and then it bounced this morning. But I still think we are to the weaker side, and I think we could slide back lower here. We are in a correction phase, and there was divergence on the RSI. And remember, this is the future, it's not the index as such. In European session, well, massive sell-off hit EuroStoxx50, but it didn't close that much lower, only around 0.34%, and it's spiked below this minor support, not a strong support, minor support there. So let's see what it will do the next couple of days. So actually, buyers came in and lifted it here. Let's see what's going on pre-market. Same here, we actually dipped lower pre-market, but then it bounced again. So we are still holding on about 5,600. Yes, it did below, but it never closed below. So let's see about that next few days. DAX index dipped yesterday to test these spike down there and support at 23,684. Still above the cloud, but it doesn't look too strong, I would say. 24,340 needs to close above that level to establish a bullish trend. So basically we are in this range here. It needs to be observed. And here the CFD pre-market here dipped lower this morning, but then back up again here. So still positive sentiment on the RSI, on DAX. So we have something to cling our hope to. On the FX market, euro dollar sliding lower, and it has room down to around 114 here the next few weeks. We can see some corrections, but we are in a bearish trend, as you can see here, push lower, and maybe a little bit of correction, but 114 seems to be the destination here on the fairly short term, in about a week or so. The sterling dollar got hit again yesterday, sold off yesterday, so sterling really being pushed to the weaker side. We have 130 testing the support around this level here at the moment. I think it will continue lower on the medium term, and we will see a push down to around 129, 128.60. We can also look at the weekly chart, where we can see that it is quite heavy. If it will come out from its hiding, there we are. It is quite heavy. There's potential down to the 100 moving average. That's the pink one here, almost 129.5, and I think we will dip lower. Currently RSI weekly also below the 40 threshold, but also here on the daily, it's really a little bit of bounce, but there is potential lower. But I think we could see a little bit of bounce here, maybe for a few days. Euro sterling pushing higher, not as convincing, but still bullish trends likely to push higher here in the coming days and weeks. We can also see here on the weekly, it's really pushing higher. If we are back to the days of 2023 towards 89, it is eyeing the 89, could push to 90 on the medium term. You can see a fairly strong bullish trend, positive sentiment supporting the bullish view, but do remember it is quite volatile. Dollar yen retraced 50% here this morning to the 153 and then bounced. We are still in a bullish trend on dollar yen, despite the fact we have some RSI divergence there. If RSI moves back above the falling trend line and takes out the level there, then I think we'll see a push higher. But for now, we have a bit of a top and reversal in place here after reaching 154.40. However, if we are looking at the weekly chart, we're also in a bullish trend there, but stalling a little bit. But I think we will, after correction, push higher. However, if it takes out the lows today at 152.95, then we could see correction continue to 152.65, 152 maybe even. Euro yen dipped this morning to the 786 retracement, 175.65. We talked about yesterday that could be in the cards. I think it will bounce here further. We're still in a bull trend, but there is some divergence, as you can see, RSI declining, so a little bit stretched there, but the bullish trend is intact as long as we are above 174.80. If it takes out the lows today, well, then we will be looking at these levels. But then we have the 55 moving average coming up, giving some support, also the cloud support there. So I think we will bounce back a little bit later. The Aussie yen dipped almost down to the 50% here, and at just below 99, and then massive bounce. So very volatile this morning here in the Asian market on the Aussie yen. And could it resume uptrend? We also have RSI divergence here on the RSI here. You see declining, but moved higher. So a bit stretched, but looking at the weekly also here, we can see there is room up to 102, 102.40 area Aussie yen, and positive sentiment, no divergence on the RSI, indicating likely higher levels. And if RSI takes out the falling trend line there on the daily, then I think we will see it pushing higher. Sterling yen, on the other hand, got sold off heavily yesterday and continued this morning, but has bounced almost down to 199, just a few pips above it. And then it bounced, and RSI also bounced from the 40 threshold as it looks now. The day is still young, but that's how it is. Let's see if it will dip and close below. It probably has dipped below this morning, but for now it still seems to be closing above 40 threshold. If it does that, well, then it could bounce further. But if it closes below 40 threshold and these lows here are being taken out, then we are likely to see it down below 198, 197.50. But I think we'll see a bounce coming in further. Aussie dollar, well, also quite volatile this morning. Dipped to, well, more or less no man's land, but it is above the 64.40 lows here and the 200 moving average coming up. However, we are still in negative sentiment. We see RSI was below 40 threshold here, currently around the 40 threshold. So in the bigger picture, we are actually just basically sideways range trading without any clear direction. We are below moving averages here, but they are virtually flat, 55 rising a little bit. We are below the cloud. So what does it say on the weekly? Well, it also says that this move up here seems to be losing momentum, and we could slide back again further. So let's see if it can take that out. There's no clear picture. It's a little bit muddy here, I will say, at the moment for Aussie dollar. You can argue that we have a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and possibly a lower low. So we actually do have a bearish trend, but a very wide range trading. Dollar Canada pushing higher, 141.53. The 138.2 projection is likely to be reached fairly soon, within this week probably. We can get some setbacks, but we are headed in that direction. Positive sentiment on the RSI supporting this picture to push higher. Sterling Canada, a lot of volatility the past few days, around 184. If it takes out 183.20 down here, well, then we are headed for levels around 182, and these lows over here from July, August, around 182 also there. I did expect it to bounce a little bit further, but let's see here the next few days what it can do. It didn't really get much above the 200 moving average. So still under pressure there, and we can see 55 coming down here, 100. So the underlying trend has changed. As we can see, we are still medium term in a bullish trend until we get back below 182. But it could happen because we have been very stretched for quite some time. So let's see about that. Could be a decisive moment here the next week or so. Euro-Swiss setting back now after reaching 61.8 retracement at 93.10, and I think we'll set back further. If it takes out the peak here from yesterday, then we could see it up to 786 retracement at 93.37. But then we have some really strong resistance with the cloud resistance. We have the 100 and the 55 moving averages coming down. So I actually do think we will see it sliding lower the next few days. That's why I have added this Fibonacci to it. So I think we'll slide lower. Also, RSI got rejected there at the 60 threshold, and we're still in negative sentiment. So I think we could see that play out. What you can also do, you can draw a trend line here on the RSI. You can see that's the trend line. If it starts moving back below that trend line, then the bounce is possibly over. And if it takes out the lows there from a few days ago from the 3rd at 92.55, then I think we will see a reversal of the trend. The downtrend has resumed, and especially if RSI moves back below the rising trend line, and especially back below the 40, then expect bearish trend to be back in session. The dollar Swiss pushing higher, has room up to around 81.50, possibly a little bit higher, but here we have the resistance coming from over there and 138.2 projection. Positive sentiment, no divergence, indicating likely higher levels. We have the dollar index. Dollar index pushing towards 161.8 projection at 100.23, likely to be reached. 200 moving average coming down. They're kind of putting a lid on it. That could be its short term, but we are in a bullish trend, and that can also be seen here on the weekly that it's pushing higher. It's going to be interesting here with the 60 threshold on the weekly. Will it be broken or rejected? So we could see a little bit of a setback if we get up to around 100.23, possibly spiking up to 100.45. Moving on to metals, we have the gold. A lot of volatility, but side raise range here. 38.86. If it takes out that, well, then we could see further selling down to around 3,700. We are still with a positive sentiment, so let's see if it takes out. Let me just draw a horizontal line right there at 4,046, always round up a little bit. If it takes out that, then I think we'll see a push up to 41.33, 41.60, where we have some resistance. So keep an eye on that, but at the moment it can't really make up its mind what it wants to do. Same with silver. It is pausing its sell-off. We actually do have a bottom reversal like pattern here that could indicate a bounce. We got a little bit of bounce, but it's not convincing. If it takes out the spike up there at 49.37, so 49.40, then I think we'll see a push up to 51. But for now, it is just taking a breather there. Platinum, really not much to say, has dipped lower this morning to the 55 moving average, so it's still in this range here between 14.90 and up to 16.62. Copper has bounced from, or it's testing the 100 moving average and the 786 retracement of the last leg up there at 492. It's actually so close, 492. And I think it will bounce further. However, it could, as we talked about yesterday, it could dip low to 482 support here. And the 55 moving average coming up and has crossed above the 200, and they're both rising. So we actually have a gold cross here that should potential tell us we will continue this bullish trend there. Moving on to the energy market, not much to say. Still, the WTI crude oil here, 59.64. If it takes it out, then a downtrend has resumed. Brent crude oil, it is also the 64 has dipped there below, so still holding on, neither close below. So let's see if it can take it out. I think if it takes out the lows from yesterday at 63.82, then it could ignite that sell-off there, but still holding on a little bit. European nat gas still in this range here, so let's move on to Henry Hub gas. That is a little bit more interesting here. We can see that it is actually spiked to 440, and let's just have a look at the weekly chart. We can see 440, that resistance we drew here a couple of days or some time ago, spiked to that. And look at this, it is currently forming a top and reversal pattern in the form of a bearish engulfing. Day is not over yet, so it can still change, but for now it seems like that's where that's the situation. We could see a setback then down to at least $4 if that is also the scenario at the end of the day. Moving on to yields, and US 10-year Treasury yields setting back after almost reaching 786 retracement at 412, getting knocked down here by the 55 moving average. If it takes out 412, then I think we could see further up to 417, 18, possibly 20. But I think we will slide back here. RSI rejected 60 threshold. I think we will slide back. That's why I added this Fibonacci there, and I think we will slide back here, possibly down to around 402 or 4% at the 61.8 retracement. The European yields, well, we have the European yields there, pausing here around 265, 266, still in a bouncing mode, could setting back a little bit, but I think we will bounce higher here to 268 at least in the coming days. If it starts moving back below 262 and especially below 260, well, then we could see a pressure down to the lows here around 253, 252. UK yields not much, dancing around the 440 here level here, so it's still fairly bearish, but holding on to these supports here. The Japanese 10, not much to say, still a slightly bullish trend is intact. Crypto, on the other hand, a lot of selling yesterday, got hammered down the past 48 hours, dipped below 100,000 on the Bitcoin, but has bounced. There's a little bit of support there at 98,225. Bounced a little bit. So let's see if it takes out the lows here from the past 24 hours. Then I think we'll see it pushing lower towards 95 and 93. Ethereum also sold off here the past 2 days below the. Let's remove this one that is obsolete now. And we are in a bearish trend that could push it lower here towards 29 and 2800. But a little bit of a bounce. I wouldn't be surprised. We have seen it here. Could bounce a little bit further, but we are in a bearish trend. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and talk to you again tomorrow.